Oh, hold on. My light fell.
You have a light?
Yeah, my ring light.
Your who?
To illuminate my face.
Stingray, you're already a ray of sunshine.
Thank you, bud. And the Alabama Crimson Tide are undefeated no more. We will get in there and discuss all of the big Mississippi State versus Alabama matchup this weekend. Plus, we will look back at the Alabama loss to the Texas A&M Aggies. That and a whole lot more coming up on this edition of 3rd and 3.
Jeff Fisher just liked one of my tweets.
Welcome inside another 3rd and 3, everybody. I am your host, Stephen Ray. And for some reason, there's only 2 guys here because Joey decided to take a hiatus when Alabama lost for the first time this season. Right over there is, sorry, I got to get this thing right. Right over there is my co-host for tonight, Clemson Tom. Tom, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Man, I was doing great until Joey decides, I can't come on tonight. I'm not feeling good. You know who wasn't feeling good was Alabama Saturday night. And the live chat that we had on Twitter was phenomenal. Hope we get to do that again. So if you're watching this, make sure next Saturday night we do that. It was really, really cool. A lot of fun. A lot of people jumped on. And it was basically just a bunch of guys talking football, watching some games. Not really debating, but just give it. Honestly, it was like a bunch of dudes just hanging out, just talking football, brother. It was perfect. It was awesome.
Wait a minute. Someone just joined down here, and here we go. Now it's going to be good. It is our own, the CTS's own Texas A&M Aggie fan. Ladies and gentlemen, one More Sanchez. Sanchez, what's going on, my friend?
First of all, my apologies. I didn't have a Aggie hat on. You know, I'm a big Dodger fan, so today's Dodger Day. But where's Joey at?
Before we get going, tell us about this bet that you and Joey had going into the A&M game.
So this started before the offseason. I was like, A&M's going to win. From Austin, Texas, born and raised. But
really?
I went to A&M, so I'm not a Longhorn. So I know you guys are Bama fans. So we got me and your cousin got barbecue bet, right?
That's it. Barbecue bet.
Barbecue bet.
What's the barbecue bet?
Y'all got Bama. I got A&M.
I'd like to exclude myself from this, the biggest loser competition you guys got going on. I could hear less about Texas or Alabama. I'm from New York, and the New York Knicks are taking over the East, is what I'm saying.
Jesse, so what you're failing to realize is Raphael's a New York Jets fan, so he knows about winning.
Is that a team?
Oh, Jesse.
While I was on your show, you told me that, this 9-1 team that almost got beat by Vanderbilt was going to take Alabama. Now, you still believe that?
Absolutely. Man, I think Ohio State shouldn't have gone in, shouldn't have been in there. Come on, man, that's 6 games. I mean, we got the conference we were in, that speaks itself.
But y'all didn't.
But you guys lose.
So a couple of weeks, A&M took the 2 losses. I was quiet. And Saturday, when he lost, he threw a little fit. He was like, "How much you want?" But it looks like he's still crying because he ain't in here. So, I'm glad. It was a good game. I'm still living that high.
Yes. Well, what message do you have for the Alabama fans and Joey since he's not present to hear it?
Well, all I gotta say is Jimbo took the first win off y'all guys, so that's all that matters in happening in Aggie land, and we'll see you guys next year. That's all I can say.
Oh, he's a trash talker when Alabama's being Alabama.
We have come to the conclusion that Clemson sucks. And when I say Clemson sucks, I told Clemson Tom early on in the show, I said Clemson is not going to ever be a powerhouse like Alabama, not like teams in the SEC. He got angry. He got mad. Now he understands the skills. Now he's recognizing the knowledge that I bring to the show. Bottom line is, I don't call myself the greatest host with the most. I don't call myself the greatest host with the most and know all the fronts of college football because I want to hear myself talk. I do it because I'm the greatest. Now, I want to go ahead and say this. As I said before, I told Clemson Tom that Clemson football is now going down to that downhill spiral. They're never going to be a powerhouse like the SEC football teams. You need to just go ahead and admit that to the Clemson fans. Look, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to upset y'all. Y'all good people. I like Clemson fans. I don't like this motherfucker. You just got to understand you're not part of the SEC. You're not a powerhouse like Alabama.
But as soon as something happens and it's not to par with his fandom, he just runs and hides.
But here's what I want to know. He talks shit for all season long and even dogged you, Tom, when, NC State, unranked NC State, beat Clemson. But the one time Alabama loses to, no offense, but unranked A&M, oh, I'm sick. I can't make it. Yeah, right, Joey. Come on.
You know what he's sick of? He's sick of being butthurt. That's all it is. Joey's he's a poor sport. He's a loudmouth. He's that big of an asshole.
Yes.
And that's why no one likes him, including his family. Yeah. They keep trying to leave him, and he keeps trapping them in the basement. It's a true story. There was a whole write-up in the Tuscaloosa Times.
Well, guys, real quick, it's not about the A&M game anymore. It is now about the Cowbell Nation back there as we turn the tide to the Crimson Tide versus Mississippi State game. And here in just a little while, we are going to hear from Mississippi State great Nick Fitzgerald, and we are going to hear from Alabama running back Glenn Coffey. But guys, before we do that, let's go on ahead and get an update now from the very talented and always very lovely Jacqueline. Jacqueline, take it away.
Hey y'all, it's Jacqueline and I'm coming to you from the Windy City, so bear with me because my internet is not nearly as nice as the skyline because the clouds just parted and for the first time in 48 hours the sun has come out. If you missed us on Twitter this weekend, Stingray was the man as we watched ASU play. It was a great game. I'm really glad Stanford just kind of laid back and let us beat them. We're going to take a moment, though. We're going to bow our heads, and we're going to pray for Joey because his team lost this weekend. And we're going to send all the positive vibes to everyone in his little inner circle because I am sure they are feeling his wrath right now. With that being said, let's get to it and let's talk about the absolute best weekend in sports that we have had 2021. And it's coming to an end, so there's only a few good ones left. Oklahoma beat Texas in a nail biter. See, I don't even have nails left to show you. That's how great this game was. Texas A&M beat number 1 ranked Alabama, which is why Joey's probably in a bad mood and isn't going to be here. And let's get to it. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder tore down the house in what CTS has all agreed is the best heavyweight championship fight that we have seen in years. We paid for that view, and what a view it was. Sadly, this was all overshadowed by the resignation of Jon Gruden, head coach of the Raiders. New York Times reported that he had been incorporating offensive, inappropriate, and maligning language in his emails to the NFL Players Association executive director and others. We're seeing a lot of things come out about these coaches, and the question has to be asked, where do we draw the line? When is personal behavior affect professional behavior? And when does inappropriate professional behavior require hiring and firing of coaches? We have to remind ourselves, these men are mere mortals. They are not saints. And it's not fair to hold people to a higher level of accountability than we would, say, our next door neighbor. At the end of the day, these are men doing their jobs. If they do them properly, more power to them. But again, they are human. I don't agree with what Gruden did because, again, we're human and we all need a little more human kindness. That was really heavy, and I'm not here to lift heavy weights. So instead, let's head next over to our interview with former starting quarterback from Mississippi State, Nick Fitzgerald, to share his stories with his time with Mississippi State, tell us a little bit more about his memories of playing against Alabama, and for his predictions for this week. It's sure to be a good one. I hope you catch it, and we'll see you around next time.
Well, guys, it is an honor to bring on our guest here, Mr. Nick Fitzgerald. Now, he was the quarterback for Mississippi State after Dak Prescott, and he was one of the best runners in the SEC, as he is the all-time leading rusher for quarterbacks in the SEC. Nick, how are you doing tonight? And first off, let me say, congratulations on that accomplishment. And how are you doing this evening?
I appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me on. I'm doing great. Glad to come on here and talk some sports and
yes,
whatever else you guys can think to ask. But I'm doing well. I'm excited and enjoying watching these guys play football this season. That's for sure.
So, Nick, obviously, the Mississippi State-Alabama game is coming up here very soon. So my question to you is, looking back at your playing career, which Alabama-Mississippi State game stands out to you the most?
I mean, obviously you have to say 2017, having them at home, just having them so close. So dang close. And, honestly, just got a little too conservative on the play calling on offense in the last couple minutes. And, we've been playing, blitz everybody on defense, always. So they went with it again and just got burned on a slant. But, I mean, obviously one of the most memorable games, one of my favorite Mississippi State Alabama games for sure.
And obviously, man, you had a wonderful game against that defense. Those guys could not stop you all night long.
I mean, it's one of those times when, we slowed the game way down. I remember they were missing like a middle linebacker and a safety at the time. Mm-hmm. So their play callers on defense were out. And so we went ahead, we huddled, we did the wristband. Really slowed the game down so they didn't know what was coming out of the huddle. Changed a lot of looks up, and we're having a lot of success. And obviously defensively, we were absolute studs that year. So, I mean, they were locking down everybody.
Yes.
As an Alabama fan, I don't want to bring this up, but we got to bring up the 2018 game. You lost 24-0. What was the mindset after the game, after y'all lost to Alabama? Did y'all, I always ask players, y'all was the underdogs. Did y'all think y'all actually had a chance against Alabama? I don't mean that in the small way, by no means. I mean
no. I mean, as a true competitor, you're going to go out there and believe that you're going to win every game, and that you're the best. You're the best team there. But I mean, realistically, when you get done and you look back and you just realize, definitely 2017 could have won. I mean, 2018 we have the athleticism, we had the defense. Just could never really get it clicking on offense.
Mm-hmm.
So you never walked out there defeated by any means. Like you walked out there like you knew you were going to win the football game. And then afterwards, you go back and you watch film. And you're like, damn, those guys are good.
Well, let's go back to another game in your playing days that possibly you guys were really good at. Looking at your overall career, which game stands out to you as the most exciting for you, Nick?
Oh man. I mean, so I guess as a fan, when I wasn't playing, 2014 Auburn game was
Right.
obviously electric. As
We
a
thank you for
player,
that.
as a player, I think I would have to go probably 2017 LSU or just that last run of 2018 versus Texas A&M.
Yes.
So, I mean, those two kind of the most memorable. And then obviously huge win against number 4 Texas A&M in 2016 when we were god awful. So just some memorable ones that stick out to me for sure.
I'm just sitting here. I'm just thinking about when you were at Mississippi State. What was it like to have a fan like Stingray there? Because that was like Stingray prime when he.
I didn't know like too much about Stingray. Like I just would see so much social media, Stingray, and I'm like, you know what, Stingray fan over here, not knowing a thing about it. I'm like, you know what, I'm a fan of that guy. So glad we finally could put this together and we can come on and get to talk with you guys.
Thank you.
I can tell he's a big Mississippi State fan. But I know you got picked up by the Bucks, and you're living in Tampa now. I'm a huge foodie. I lived in Tampa as well, so I can tell you any place in Tampa you want to go for whatever you need food wise. But I've never been to Starkville, and my main man Sting keeps telling me he's going to take me to Starkville. What is the absolute best barbecue in Starksville? Like if God came down and he was like, all right, Nick, one last barbecue sandwich, but it's got to be in Starkville. Where are we going?
Oh my God. You know what? I have to go Two Brothers, no doubt about it.
Okay.
Two Brothers, absolutely all day, hands down, no doubt about it.
Two Brothers, all right. Now, what about in Tampa?
I'm sorry, I can't even. People from Starkville are going to hate me, but I don't even remember the name of like the famous barbecue place that was there.
Little Dewey.
The place that everyone used to. Little Dewey's. That's it. I'm sorry, Little Dewey's. I love you guys. I think I only ate there like one time my entire time in Starkville. So, Two Bros was always the place to go.
Now, Starkville. I mean, coming from someone from I'm Clemson, obviously. And I keep hearing Starkville, and you get the best barbecue at like a gas station. Is the barbecue really that good in Starkville?
I mean, like barbecue's pretty darn good. Yeah, I mean, like you're in the heart of Mississippi. That's God's country. God loves barbecue. Obviously, He's coming down asking me about it in Starkville. So, by far, definitely some of the best gas station food you can get, and then also some of the best gas station fried chicken you can get. I feel like that's also very underrated. People don't talk about that enough. But
from South Carolina, I can vouch for that. Yeah,
incredible.
I don't know what it is.
Fried chicken at gas stations, no doubt.
Yeah, fried chicken at a gas station, man. Like you frown on it when you think about it, but some of the best fried chicken I've ever had is at a gas station. And boiled peanuts too, or you get it from like some random dude like at like the side of a road under a tent.
He's got like a bucket. He's just got like a bucket he's scooping out of. Don't know when the last time he washed it.
He's like skipping it into a cup.
No idea the last time that thing was cleaned out.
So, Nick, I actually walked onto the Tampa Bay Storm, wide receiver. They put me up against some cats. Do you think you and I would have like some good chemistry? I know you played the XFL, so it's a little bit different, but I could envision myself maybe coming over the middle, catching a pass. Nick Fitzgerald, Clemson Tom.
I mean, let's be realistic. There's a possibility that pass isn't going to be exactly on target. We can all make fun of ourselves here. But no, man, I think we would. The XFL was a good time. Got to get famous again for chugging Bud Light seltzers after the games, after contributing absolutely zero to the win on the field. So, had a great time. You got to play with some great guys. Obviously was with Taylor Heineke, who is with the Washington football team now, Jordan Ta'amu. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. He's definitely on our team right now, though. I just don't remember where at. And had a good time with it. Definitely enjoyable. Ready for it to come back. Maybe I'll be in shape and get a shot. Who knows?
Man, you say we make fun of ourselves with it, man, but that was honestly one of the coolest times. Just to do it, it was what it was. You get older as the days go, but looking back, I'll be 95 on my deathbed. Still saying Tampa Bay Storm #1.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Had a great time.
Okay. let's go back to Mississippi State 2021. Nick Fitzgerald, if you are a recruit right now, how excited would you be to be a quarterback in Mike Leach's air raid offense?
Man, let me tell you, I'd be ecstatic, if I was a guy that, really wanted to come out and sling the ball around and throw to some playmakers. Not a jab at anyone I ever played with. Amazing guys, I just feel like we have some really big time receivers that are going to go up and make plays, and they're the stretch the field kind of guys now. They have the weapons out there to throw to. I don't know why I keep getting tweets every Saturday about me needing to teach our quarterback, the stud Rogers, anything about his game. But the kid's, he's dynamite, man. He's got a great arm, makes good reads. I'm excited to see how he progresses. And if I was a receiver, I would be so hyped to come here and catch passes from that kid. So I'm excited for Mississippi State in the future. I'm a fan of Mike Leach. I'm still very excited to get up there and sit down and have a conversation with him about aliens or whatever the hell else comes on his mind. So definitely looking forward to that. Going to go back for the Egg Bowl this year and go watch us get a dub.
With that said, ladies and gentlemen, it was a complete honor. I remember watching you play. I remember that heartache in 2017. But you know what? When we got an SEC legend right here on the CTS, Nick, it was a pleasure and an honor to meet you, man. And anytime you want to come back on the CTS, please, all you have to do is stop by. The door is open.
Absolutely. I'll come back by and we'll talk some more up here in a little while.
Okay.
All right, big man. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, the great Nick Fitzgerald.
Thanks for coming on, brother. Appreciate you.
No, absolutely. Y'all boys, I appreciate it, man. I had a good time. Stingray, appreciate you having me on, man, and apologize it took me so long to get here.
You're fine, man, but let me just say one thing. Hell State, my friend.
Hail State, brother.
Hell State.
See y'all boys.
All right, guys, now that we got the Mississippi State portion out of the show, now we are going to go to who is arguably one of the greatest running backs in Alabama history. Ladies and gentlemen, here is our interview with the one and only Glenn Coffey. And also, I share some of my memories of some of the great matchups in the series.
Now we're going to mix it up a little bit. This is the Mississippi State Alabama show, and that the game is this Saturday. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to move Clemson Tom out of the way. We can't see Clemson Tom. Let's do it again, Stingray. We can't see him. We can't see Clemson Tom. We don't need him. And we're going to interview one of the greatest running backs ever at the University of Alabama. Probably, if not the best running back at the University of Alabama, arguably the best running back of all time at the University of Alabama. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to my co-host, the one and only, the internet sensation, Stingray, and number 38 for the University of Alabama, Glenn Coffey. Gentlemen, how y'all doing today?
Not bad.
Stingray,
It's always great to be on here with a former Alabama player.
It's always great to be on here with a former Alabama great. That's what this is. Glenn Coffey. You better represent. This ain't Spencer Pennington here. This is Glenn Coffey, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Shouts out to Spencer Pennington. I'm not mad at you no more. I'm over the Music City Bowl. Now, what I want to do right now, we're going to switch it up. Stingray, you're not the host no more. You're going to share your thoughts and feelings on what Mississippi State and Alabama means to you. And Glenn, I want you to just share some of your thoughts and memories of when you was playing these games and, what were the feelings, what would happen in the locker room. So we'll start with you, Stingray. Hey, Stingray, we know you became famous for the Mississippi State rants, Yes. You went on the SEC network. You put Paul Feinberg in his place. Tell us right now, what is the most memorable game that you remember watching as a child or as a grown-up that you remember watching Mississippi State and Alabama play against?
Well, actually, this goes even further back than the Mississippi State rant days. The first one that I can remember would be the Mississippi State-Alabama game, and unfortunately, Glenn was either on the field or redshirted that year. It was the year that Mississippi State knocked off Alabama 2 years in a row. That was Mike Shula's last year. Sylvester Croom went over there with a 2-win team, came into Bryant-Denny and knocked off Alabama. And then the next year, when Coach Saban took over at the Capstone, Mississippi State hosted Alabama in Starkville, and Mississippi State knocked off John Parker Wilson and Alabama 17-10 over there in Starkville. I was at both of those games, and let me just tell you, that is the only time I have ever felt Davis Wade Stadium shake was when Anthony Johnson returned the 103-yard interception for a touchdown right before the half. That really changed the outcome of the game completely.
Yeah, both of those games suck. Anyway, Glenn, do you recall those games?
Yeah, I remember losing to them twice like that. I do. I was a freshman first time, and then the second game I was out that season with an injury. But after those games, I always knew that Mississippi State would be a tough task, And the games that I did play in, I feel like I had maybe 40 yards rushing on like 12 carries type games. Mississippi State is one of those teams where as a running back, when you get tackled, you're going to get hit a couple more times before you hit the ground. It's just always rough and rugged.
Well, why is that? Well, what is it about Mississippi State and Alabama? For a long time. I mean, of course, we have that rivalry with that other team. That team, not Birmingham, not University of Alabama, Birmingham, not Troy, not Tuskegee, not Jacksonville State. That team with all the stuck-up people in that big city. Yeah. The Eagles. Anyway. What is it about the history of the Mississippi State and Alabama that intrigues a lot of people?
I can actually take that one, if you don't mind. Mississippi State and Alabama are the closest two schools in mileage in the SEC. 90 miles separate Tuscaloosa from Starkville.
Glenn?
That's a good point. That's a good point. Now that you say that, I remember having to travel on the bus, to play y'all. But I think it's there because, it really does come down to location. You got those states that are so close to each other, and if you talk about the history of the Deep South and all that comes along with that, you put that on a football field in a competition, it's bound to be some type of, I don't know, it's just like this old Southern tradition football or something. I don't know how to explain it. It's very close knit when you're talking about that game and those teams competing.
Now, Glenn, I want to ask you something. In 2008, y'all went undefeated. We talked to Preston Dow, and he mentioned you. We talked about you for a good 2 minutes about how you probably one of the greatest running backs he ever played with. With that said, do you remember that 2008 game when y'all went undefeated and pretty much crushed Mississippi State?
Yeah, I don't know if crush is the right word, though.
No, you crushed them.
I remember getting cussed out with my coach because he was like, why aren't you running harder and this, that, and the third? But like I said, those games were always like, I don't know, you just happy to move the chains, And it's always one of those games where it seems like it's low scoring and we can't never get the ball rolling on offense. And on defense, they have a couple of plays that, it might be dunk here, dunk there, 3 yards here, and all of a sudden they get an 80-yarder sprinkled in there somewhere. It's just always one of those games where the game plans never seem to work out. And at the end of the day, the score is always like, 17-10 or something like that. At least when I was playing, it was like that.
Yeah, Mississippi State has always been a tough school. We always joke around about Mississippi State just because Stingray's on the show. However, Alabama fans don't ever take for granted what Mississippi State brings to the game. We've learned many times that you take Mississippi State for granted. Mississippi State will surprise you. So with that said, before we let y'all go, Stingray, one last memory, and also a prediction. One last memory and a prediction for this Saturday's game. Just maybe a memory of when you was a child watching Mississippi State, because a lot of people don't know this. You was a lifelong Mississippi State fan.
Yes.
What's your last memory and what's your prediction?
I do believe Mississippi State is going to get a lot out of this game, just simply because, as Mike Leach says, the precision of the air raid offense is all about repetition, repetition, repetition. You can still get those reps in and still continue to build momentum for the rest of the season moving forward. So I like Alabama in this game, but it is going to be good for Mississippi State to continue to work on getting the air raid down pat.
That's why your internet's so fuzzy, because you don't know what you're talking about. Mississippi State's going to get that. Glenn, real fast. Stingray's mad.
You cut out on me.
Oh, don't worry about it. Stingray going to whoop my ass. Jesus. Glenn Coffey, real fast. One more memory about playing with Mike Shula and Glenn and Nick Saban. A story that not a fan, but some fans will probably want to hear, something behind the scenes during the Mississippi State game, and your prediction between Alabama and Mississippi State.
A memory. That week before the game, before the first time we played them. At their home, we had to simulate the cowbells, and they had the music turned up so loud in practice, and I was thinking it was a waste of time. But then you go out there and play, and you're like, oh shoot, that's kind of annoying, And I would say that's my main memory about Mississippi State was the fact that they allow that during the game, so it's almost like cheating. I feel
so. Before I let you go, are you saying that the cowbells really do affect y'all?
Like you would think that they wouldn't be able to mess with the bells during certain points in the game, but they are, because it's different than crowd noise. Like you could be in a huddle and you could be like trying to, get the play, and then be like, them damn cowbells. Like it's not. You could tune out. You're used to tuning out fan noise, they're used to tuning out the fans and stuff like that, but the Cowboys are a different story, so it does kind of throw you off the game a little bit.
Well, you hear it first, Mississippi State fans, as they say, more cowbell, but it won't really matter. I mean, we're gonna whoop that up. Real fast prediction, Glenn Coffey.
Bama's gonna win. We'll just leave it at that.
Come on, give me a score.
I
got 90 to zip. What do you got?
34-10.
34-10. Ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen.
real quick, Glenn, I do want to ask, how long after that game did your ears continue to ring because of the cowbells?
Not too long, you know what I'm saying? My last year there, we came away with a W, so I wasn't. Yeah, I was good. I was good to go.
Yeah. I can tell you what you can do with those cowbells, Sting. I hate those. I tell people all the time, there's teams that I just cannot stand. Auburn is one of those teams that I hate. I don't like the football team. I got nothing against the school or the other sports. I don't like the football team. I do not like the city of Auburn. Mm-hmm. I make that very clear. Everybody that lives in the city of Auburn is very stuck up. Everybody I know that has come from Auburn is stuck up. My wife's mom's sister-in-law or her family that lives in Auburn are the most stuck up people you ever met. Everybody I've ever met from Auburn is stuck up. But with that said, I hate the Auburn football team. I dislike the Florida football team. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I hate Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State, I hope one day they become a contender. I hope I hope that Georgia and Vanderbilt and the other teams in the SEC get a chance. But when you play against Alabama, that's your. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only number 38, Glenn Coffey, and the internet sensation Stingray.
We really want to thank once again Nick Fitzgerald and Glenn Coffey for joining us now. The big news topic coming out this week is obviously the firing or the stepping down of Jon Gruden there in Las Vegas. Guys, let's not get into the why, but what are your thoughts on ultimately Las Vegas pulling the plug on Jon Gruden?
I think they needed to, for PR purposes. I think that Jon Gruden as a coach is a wonderful coach. I think that it was a mistake that he did. I don't think it came malicious.
Yes.
But he got caught. You got to own up to it, and hopefully we'll see him on Monday Night Football or another coaching gig.
Yes.
Maybe he can coach Alabama. We don't know.
Yeah, you never know. So, Tom, what about you? What are your thoughts on Gruden?
I've got a lot of thoughts on Gruden. Caitlin, can I talk about Jon Gruden? My wife says I can't, but he deserved to get fired. There's no place for the thing. Even though it was like 10, 11 years ago when he said it, there's a difference between a 21, 22-year-old guy saying that because you're just kind of young and you don't really have a lot of life experiences at that age. And it's not to say you get a pass, but it's almost like shut up, pay your dues or whatever. But when you're 40 or 50, however old he is or was when he said that, that means you felt like that for a very, very long time. And so I doubt his feelings have changed in 10 years. And it just came out. So, no, he deserved to get fired. There's no room for that right now in society. 30, 40 years ago, you probably could get away with saying some of that kind of shit. But that still doesn't make it right. It just went under the table. One thing I will say, if we're going to start holding people accountable for stuff like that, it needs to be across the board, not just when social media decides it needs to, have an uproar. I mean, look how many NFL players have had domestic violence allegations. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger. I don't know if he's a chick or not, but he's got a reputation on him. You look at Rice, the running back for the Ravens. I mean, he kind of paid his dues. He might have got kicked off the team after he got caught beating up his girlfriend. But across the NFL, you see these guys like abusing women, which is there's no room in society for a grown man at the NFL level to do things like that. Like your actions, like words are words, and actions are in actions. And honestly, they're to me if you're a bad person, you're a bad person. No matter if you say a certain way, you feel a certain way, and your actions can be something completely different. If we're going to be like this, then honestly, we need to be like this across the board. If we're going to start holding people accountable, we don't need to hold them accountable just because Facebook and Twitter got up in an uproar and made us decide, because the NFL knew this was there prior to it being leaked. So they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything until Twitter decided to blow up and say social justice needed to happen. So if we're going to do it, we need to do it across the board. Right now you have players in the Hall of Fames for their certain teams that got busted. I'm Michael Irvin. He was a drug addict. He did this. You're looking at other players that paid for hookers and they abused women and they did this, they did that. And I mean, no one's perfect at the end of the day. But if you're going to say you can't go 100 miles an hour in a 65, and you're going to give the guy that's driving 100 miles, if he's driving 100 miles an hour, you give him a ticket. And the guy driving 90 miles an hour in a 65 deserves a ticket. It just is what it is. If you're going to keep it 100, then you got to keep it 100 every single time, not just because social media said so.
I don't know if you guys can see it or not.
Yeah, the Buccaneers removed him from the Ring of Honor.
Are you serious?
No,
yes.
And they did it just because it was a social uproar. Sanchez, it just is what it is. They knew he was the same today as he was when he coached there.
Mm-hmm.
But now they want to take him down. Meanwhile, they got Warren Sapp up there in the Ring of Honor, who was a pretty bad dude back in the day. And if they want to keep him up, they want to keep him up. But if you want to call a spade, then you got to call it straight up. You got to call it straight up. If you're wrong, you're wrong. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, it's tough because here's the thing: is that I don't think he would have done that in this age, at this time, with everything that's going on. I really don't think, as a coach, that's his character.
I don't know personally. I can't say that's his character, but what I can say, if that's how he felt 10 years ago, let's say he's 50 years old, then that he was 40, then he's felt like that for a while. He didn't just magically feel that way. So he probably still feels that way. And he has a lot of money. And you give someone with a lot of money, then they feel like they're almost untouchable. So, I mean, it is what it is. And not to bring Warren Sapp in it. Warren Sapp made mistakes just like, 50 or 99% of the rest of us. So I just know that he's in the Ring of Honor because I'm a Bucs fan. Yes. But if you want to go just across the board everywhere, they've all made mistakes. But if you want to call someone a mistake, then let's hold everyone accountable the same exact way. And I was all for him getting fired when I heard about it, because there's no room in the NFL for that kind of nonsense, especially with everything that's happened. And we want to move forward as a culture, as a people. And if we want to become better and we want to evolve, then we got to hold every single person accountable. But it's been 20 years since Warren Sapp, was on the field. So, and I'm only saying because Warren Sapp, because I just know he's in the Ring of Honor. So that's why I'm using it as a reference, not poking fun at the man. He did deny me an autograph when I was in high school, so maybe I'm still a little hurt. I don't know.
Well, guys, real quick, before we get out of here, I did want to also mention that Clemson returns to the field Friday night against the Syracuse Orange. Real quick, Tom, is it going to be the Orange winning that game, or is it going to be the Tigers of Clemson?
Man, Syracuse took Wake Forest overtime, and Wake Forest is good. Man, I don't know. I'm almost scared to watch it, to be honest with you.
Yes.
I'm legitimately almost scared to watch it. But at the same time, I'm scared, but that's what makes this fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is you can't be like, oh, I'm not going to watch. I think we're going to lose. No, man. Like, we were beating everybody's behinds for years, and then now we're kind of having a down year, and the excitement's back. The anticipation's back. It's like Sanchez, bro, we got a game at 8 o'clock, man. I don't know. Back in it like 4 years ago, get the hell out of here, man. We got a game at Syracuse. Get the hell out of here. Like, Sting, I might watch a quarter of it. Now I got to watch the whole game. Now I'm like this. You're like, it brings an anticipation, and it brings an excitement, and it brings unsureness. Because I'm sitting here telling you, I don't know if we're going to beat Syracuse this weekend. And that's part of the game that makes it fun. If you're going to go out there and beat everybody 100-0,
mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's awesome. You win championships, and it is what it is. But after a while, you get numb to it. You get numb to the winning. You get numb to the hard work. You get numb to everything. I mean, a big game is only a big game if you have something to lose. We've got something to lose right now. We have a lot to lose right now. So there's more riding on it now than anything else. So, and Syracuse wants to beat us because we're still Clemson.
Yes.
We still got Dabo on the other side. We still got, 99% of the staff is a 5-star. Yeah. And Syracuse wants to beat us. And Syracuse always brings it to us, to every single year. No matter what, Syracuse always drops the hammer on us. And I'm excited because, I mean, we got to come out swinging, because I legitimately don't know if we're going to win.
Well, over there, Sanchez, your Texas A&M Fighting Aggies go on the road to take on the Missouri Tigers. Give us your thoughts real quick on the Missouri Aggies matchup, please.
A&M by 10 points.
Okay. Short, sweet, and to the point, man.
Yep. Calzada got his groove. I think the running game got really good. Defense, 12th man. We're going to beat the spread, 10 points.
And Tom cut out on us. Got to get that good internet, my man.
That Cricket Wireless ain't working out there.
No, and he's down there in the great state of Florida, man. So anyway, all right, Jesse, we're real quick. Obviously, before we leave, Mississippi State came down there to A&M and knocked off the Aggies. Any chance that any chance that Mississippi State knocks off Alabama Saturday?
No chance.
Okay,
No chance.
I agree with that. I agree.
No chance.
All right, guys. Well, we're back here. We've got all the internet issues fixed. So real quick, before we leave, Tom, is there anything else you would like to add before we get out of here?
Joey, the little respect that I had for you as a man has completely gone out the window. Your team loses and you refuse to show up. That's just uncalled for. That's un-American. And I don't know, maybe Saban took away your internet access, just like he took away all the Hellcat engines that he gives all the recruits down there. So maybe it's really not your fault. Maybe all the cheating allegations that Saban has and all the Camaros and the Chevy Impalas, whatever the heck they drive. I don't know. If you look at the Alabama, football complex when everyone's at practice, it looks like a daggum Dodge car dealership. Everyone's got something from the Fast and the Furious. So maybe Saban took away his internet access. I don't know. But hopefully you come back, you negotiate. Maybe Saban can actually get you some new blinds in the back. Because those blinds look like Walmart blue light special.
Yes.
Maybe the Dollar Tree. The blinds look like something from the Biden administration. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, guys, I am going to end it with a final say here because Joey deserves not being here to have this happen to him. All right, so this past Saturday night, Texas A&M had their wide receivers running wide open. The Alabama defenders could not see them. That is going to happen exactly just like last week, this weekend in Starkville, Mississippi, as the air raid takes on Alabama in Starkville. So I just have one statement to make to Joey and everybody else. What you going to do, brother? What you going to do when the Cowboy Will Rogers and Mike Leach and the air raid you can't see me and air raids all over the atrocious Alabama defense? Hail State beat the hell out of Alabama.
What a rush!